Cool. Thanks you for agreeing to listen to my reflection on my conversation module that I've just done. So what I've learned from going through the module that I would like to try when I do my reflections with my one-on-one check-ins with Tanith. So there was a model it's called ELAC. So E is about energy, like bringing energy to the conversation and sort of starting it off and allowing the space for someone to surface their ideas. And then we move into the listening, the L being listening. And what I've learned is there's 3 listening levels, and I often operate at level 1, which is listen to someone and then try and bring in a story or something that I can relate to carry the conversation on. But in this mentoring stage, place, you don't really do that. It's more listening to allow them to talk through their issue rather than take it and make it all about you. It's actually they're the main character. So there's 2 other levels. So the level 2 is I hear you. So you might be just reflecting what they're saying back. Like, so you're on the same page and you're kind of on the same sort of wavelength. And then the level 3 is that I feel you. So it's more that empathetic listening and just sort of reflecting back. You might say comments like, oh, that must have been really challenging for you, or that must have been a difficult situation for you. So you're showing empathy rather than, oh, let me tell you how I'm going to fix it. And then the appreciation is looking for what's good about this, like what's the positive sort of spin on it, and what sort of noticing and acknowledging what they've come across, handled the situation. And then the last stage is C, which is curiosity, and that's helping them to find the solution. So asking those open-ended questions rather than coming with a prepackaged solution. So tell me more about this. Have you, and what might you need to find out about? What kind of questions might you ask? Those are sort of the leading questions that you do to try and tease and pull out the conversation. But what I'd quite like to do is take the, it's called Talanoa. It's a Samoan concept of having a conversation. So a Talanoa literally means, wait for it, talking about nothing in particular. So it's a meandering conversation. So you don't come in with an agenda. You have a talaloa. I thought we could even phrase it as talaloa time, where you come in without this agenda. It's a meandering conversation. And then you bring the ELAC model and tease and sort of let it happen naturally. But actually, it's more about capability building so that the person then is empowered to be able to solve their own problems in the future rather than always have to come to one above or a colleague to get ideas. So what do you think about that as an approach?
I love this. Leadership is my jam. I'm really passionate about it. What I like about that are some similarities for what I think works well, and particularly our context is really unusual. You are deputy head to 150 people, geographically spread, and it's almost like you can take everything you know about leadership and put it to one side, start learning about remote leadership, which is an entirely different wheelhouse. And every so often you can go, oh yeah, that bit still relates. You can put it back in. There's good leadership is good leadership, but when we compare leading a group of people, say in a school or even in the same premise, to the leadership that we have to do is completely different, because we have to future-proof our leaders. So I think some of the things, so my next thing, which is, it's a reflection in line with that. If you ask people about how I lead, and when you talk about meandering and things like this, and you'll see this at the Hui, it's very conversational based. It looks very casual, and it's incredibly crafted. And it was the way that I teach. It's just sort of my style. There's 2 things or 3 things that people would probably say to you. So one, like we had a quick chat this morning with Mark, And I used to say to him right at the beginning, and which he used to, I used to say that to my kids too. And depending on the person, you wouldn't always use the word and, but basically it's a prompt for them to fill the gap and not you. Because what I've found is that if people come to you wanting a solution and talk something out, they'll give you a surface level.
Yeah.
And then it becomes call and response. So to me, there's always 2 or 3 layers before you get down to what the issue is. Sometimes the issue isn't the issue at all. That's the symptom.
Yes.
So by using the and prompt, or sometimes I just even do this, or I say, keep on going. I always let somebody unpack it 2 or 3 layers deep. That's one of the things. The feedback that I get as well from, and this is from CJ and Mark and Ruth, is that they'll be like, okay, if I go and talk this over with Steph, they're going to want this, she's going to want the solution as well. So it's kind of part of the end thing.
Yes.
You dig until you see people just starting to get a little sort of bit uncomfortable. And that's okay, different levels for different people, and you don't want your team uncomfortable. And to me, that's when I'd go, okay, that must be super frustrating for me. Tell me how you want it fixed.
Yeah.
So the mindset is like, come with a problem, come with a solution. But the phrase, tell me how you want it fixed, what support do you need from me, those sort of phrases. And now what's happening, because my team know that, and know that I'm not going to deliver it in a, like, you should have thought it out, so what's your answer?
Yeah.
Then they come prepped now, because they just know that that's how it goes.
But that's I was just going to say, that's like also relationship building. So that's part of that Talaloa time, is building the trust and relationship so that they know that you have trust in them and that you know that they can solve their problems, which is exactly what you're saying. So rather than this top-down approach, you've built them up through those conversations. So you've been doing that along the way anyway, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's 3 key things for me, and remind me to come back to the cube. There's 3 key things that that just guide who I am. And one is, there is a person and not a role that I'm having a conversation with. And that person is doing 100%, working to 100% of the capacity that they know how to do. Now, some days they only may have 30% capacity, but they're still giving you 100% of that.
Mm.
Other days they'll come and they're at 80% capacity and they'll give you 100% of that. So it doesn't mean they're always working to their best, but everybody comes to work wanting to give the best they have that day. So never forget that the person that you're in a meeting with, or the people, are people.
Mm.
And it's about not so much the message of the meeting, because we can go back to agendas for that. What is the feeling that you bring into the room? My purpose is to bring joy. And what is the feeling that they are leaving that meeting with?
Mm.
It's the content. We all forget about that, basically. And if we don't, we go back to the agenda. But do they want to attend another meeting with you? That's the reflective point at the end of the meeting. Have you left them empowered enough? Have you left them feel valued enough and seen enough? And do they want to attend another meeting with you? The next thing is that my measure of success is that you'll see the people around me flourish and succeed. Alongside that, you'll probably go, what the hell does Steph do? Because like we never see her anywhere or whatever. But, and this is one of the things that we're covering in our hui in the first session tomorrow, that is absolutely my definition of success. I mean, we all like to get feedback, but if I hear from HR about a regional lead that just did an amazing thing, I'm like, my work here is done, you know? And there was a third thing.
The cube.
The cube. Yeah. This to me is a really powerful visual. So we've got the and happening, chat, 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 chat. we've got the recognition of the, oh my goodness, that's you know, I can see that's like super frustrating for you, or depending on the relationship, because sometimes that can sound a bit formulaic. And then the third thing is when we start talking about a solution, go, let's have another one. Let's have another solution. And you don't stop until you get 6. And unless somebody's close to tears, a couple of them are going to be rubbish. And then every so often you get this really, really good idea. And we did it even with CJ last week to do with funding with an at-school student. We were trying to negotiate the funding criteria, the student need, the school needs, called Takaro's needs, like, and so we did this great big brainstorm. And I think we had 5 different alternatives up on the board. We couldn't get the 6th. But the cube to me is a really, really powerful leadership thing, especially if we're in an environment where it's a call and response. Last thing, this is all based on trust, because to have these conversations, people have to trust you enough to be vulnerable, to keep on digging and to say stupid things. I like to think, and the 2 newbies don't know me well enough, but I like to think that all of my team know that I 100% back them. If what they're doing is a bit numpty, I'll catch up with them afterwards and go, interesting choice, let's chat about that. But it's all about preserving my team's mana and everything.
Yeah.
Or with your conversation with Denise, yeah, I think that's a really good structure. I think with her personally, the relational part will take a little bit longer.
I had a good relationship with her at the Leading Learning Hui. Like, I talked with her a few times. She told me a lot of stories about herself and her family and her setup and all of that. So like, oh, that's good that she felt like she could. But something you said before, it reminded me of another thing I read once, when you said about people give the 100% capacity, what capacity they've got. And someone said, like, life or workplace is like a garden. You wouldn't expect every flower to bloom every day. You know, we all go through our stages, and some will be flowering and blooming, and some will be growing, or some will be withering and dying.
Yeah, some a little bit accidental roundup. I think if that old 80-20 chestnut, which I love because it just applies to all sorts of areas. So it's like, we've got the purpose of the meeting, but what's the relational thing that's coming out of it? So what is the 20% of the work that we can do for our specific people? What is their currency? We all have different currency. My currency is feedback, which is ironic because we don't really work in a place that gives feedback. So like, what's their currency? What makes them feel genuinely heard, and and all that?
I think mine is valued, to feel valued. If I ever feel like I'm not valued, and I look back at workplaces that I've left, it's when I felt that no one's really appreciated, or not enough people have appreciated what I've done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or what I'm capable of doing. So when I left the ministry, I was so underutilized to a point, and then you're like, oh, I can do other things.
Yeah. Just be, well, like the thing behind me says, be the person you want to work with, and I want to work with somebody who sees me and values me and appreciates me and thanks me and all that sort of stuff. So I just try, and I get to the end of each day, I start each day, but I get to the end of each day and go, okay, did I actually thank everybody for what they did? And it's genuine. It is a genuine thanks for your work, or whatever it is. So that to me comes back to that whole relational thing, because systems and processes, you're only as good as your weakest ones of those, yada yada. That's another one of my catchphrases. But when you're leading such a big team at distance, You need people to be seen, because that is what will carry the mahi through.
Jenny was very good at that. Like when she was when she's leading learning huis and so on, she acknowledged everyone, taking time away from their families, taking time away from their lives to be in this space. Like, even though you do it because it's part of your job, but just to be told, I see that you've done that and I'm thankful and it's appreciated. And I think that always set the scene really nicely, because you do notice when people don't do it, and there's a change of leadership, as we know what we're experiencing at the moment. There's such a different style of that appreciation, like that human part of it.
Yeah. With those, you do have to be careful. It depends on your audience, Some people would appreciate that. Some people go, oh, that's the introduction checklist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I always felt like Jenny actually meant it.
Oh, yes, she did. And she did. Yeah.
Very good. All right, we'll wrap this up. Thank you for your time. And I will see you tomorrow.
See you. Bye.
See. Oh, hang on. Over there's the recording.